London, United Kingdom, uncertain, turbulent times. The far right on the rise in a fractured, fearful Europe, and in Britain, a chilling wave of xenophobia and attacks on immigrants and refugees. The circumstances may strike a chord with us today. But this was London at the height of the Great Depression, when gangs of black-shirted fascists brought fear and violence to immigrant communities, and one violent, dramatic day of barricades and riots would become mythologized as the Battle of Cable Street. On October 4, 1936, the charismatic leader of the British Union of Fascists, BUF, Sir Oswald Mosley, set out to march 5,000 of his uniformed black shirts from the Tower of London to the heart of the immigrant communities of the East End. In the mid-1930s, the borough was mostly Irish and Jewish, PDF. Today, it is home to London's largest Muslim community. It was to be a triumphant march.